Test, test, test. Welcome, Daniel, Kijos, and Arnold. Good to see you guys. We got some interesting stuff to talk about. Not really crypto because it's just chopping again, but gold was extremely interesting with a lot of moves. Unfortunately, missed this one, but there was also not really any structure confirmation. But I'll go into it in a minute. I hope the sound is good because it's raining and there's a lot of thunder. So hopefully the connection stays well and you guys can hear me normally. If not, let me know. Good morning, Cocatedora. It's a difficult name. Your audio is top. Great. Okay, so let me first just start with Bitcoin. Not much has changed. We have now the confirmed daily breaker structure, which we first swing filled here, and then yesterday we broke it. So yeah, trend is still bearish, underproof not wise. So that's a loud one. So any lower high here is still the most likely scenario. But locally, price is also pretty weak. Instead of a clean downtrend, we are now a bit ranging. So that means that we can just watch the local range, in which this is now the main low I'm watching, and this is the high. And it basically means that anything in between here is not really interesting until we start taking out the low into demand. Then we can potentially watch for accumulations. However, this is counter context, so accumulation has to be super clean. The easier way is to just trade together with the trend, which is to watch for distributions here. It can be model 1 like here, or it can extend in a bigger model 1, for example, like that. For now, not much sense in predicting it and just waiting for either the range high or the range low to be taken out and then watch it from there. Overall, this is pretty choppy, so want to see at least tap 2 and then we can work from there. Is the NAS and S&P just going to go up indefinitely? Yeah, probably a new all-time high, right? Let me see. Okay, let me close my window because it sounds like I'm in a war. Yeah, this chart is crazy. It's insane. It's as if it's a full-blown bull market. Wish we could have it on crypto, but our coins are in hands of Trump. So plan for BTC is simple, not really expecting too much until we take out the lows or the highs. And then also like a 2-tap, not really interested in a 2-tap. I want that 3-tap, so either model 1 or model 2, or that to the upside. So until that happens, not really interested. But we can watch for the fun to the statistics. Let's see if they give a bias for today. Probably bearish, but we can have a look. Okay, so we can see that 67% of the days closed bearish, 75% of the days made a new low. So catching a reversal right now, it's a lower probability play. So it's likely that we make new daily lows. And we can have a look what the weekly statistic, because yesterday it showed a bearish trend. So we can see if that is still the case and how it relates to that former fractal. Those are first. 83% closed bearish, so that's very likely. But 70% of the weeks took out the low later. That's not really a super clean bias. So it's not telling too much. But I'm mainly just looking at the range extremes here. And the same is true for USDT. We had a nice swing fill yesterday, then price took out that low. And from there we formed this local range where we first had a low high, tap 2, but that one went over into a 1, 2, 3 break of structure, model 1 distribution, that eventually went over into a model 2 accumulation, 1, 2, 3, this is basically the 4, and right now pushing back into supply. So even this local range first gave a model 1 distribution and then a model 2 accumulation. And right now we can draw a new range because price is pushing up again. So let's delete this and zoom out a bit. Then technically this is our new bullish range into proof otherwise, because main structure is still bullish. And then we can simply watch, just as for Bitcoin, the range extremes. So either if price starts taking the highs, and you can watch if we get distributions formed here, bad drawing, but something like that, or if we accumulate in this range. So simple range to work with. But we have significant supply above us, so it's not a weird place to look for potential distributions. If they're gonna happen, then it's likely to be in this 12-hour supply. And we just front ran it with that former tab. So if we range here and then start showing weakness, my drawing game is not on today, but then this is a level where I will not be surprised to see price top out for a bit and then go down. And then there we have to see if it just continues the uptrend or a bigger reversal. So pretty clean range to work with, likely going into the weekend like that. So alerts are set at the range high, range low, in between. I'm not really interested in trading it. Welcome Lise, Sudo en Wes. Can even see the VWAP lightning. So for BTC, this is basically just a waiting game. And we can have a quick look at the alts. I traded London today on Sol and I got punished directly. I should not trade London. It's so bad as always. But I was watching this local range and I pulled it from high to low. I often don't do that because the main one is to pull it from low to high. This one I pulled from high to low, and locally there was a 1, 2, 3 internal break. So I expected price to travel towards the range high, which is why I played the extended model. However, it took liquidity here, broke structure, and then went down. And it was all during London, so you can see right here. Just never trust London sessions. Right now I'm watching it from a new range, which is basically similar as to what Bitcoin is, with this being our range classic. Main range low, main range high, and then see if this develops into the weekend with some more price action, and then it starts to look like a pretty good range. Distributions or accumulations. Simple stuff as always. Hype. Well, let's discuss hype a bit because it's so clean. Yesterday, I traded that little model during the stream. But if we zoom out, main structure is still bullish, and we had this local range where price seemed to break down from, but exactly at the deviation threshold, right here, that red line, we know that if price is in a range, any move, as long as it's within the deviation threshold, can be seen as a potential deviation before a move to the other side. So this is an inflection point where you either buyer step in or you have a confirmed breakdown. And this is just too beautiful because price mitigated this clean demand below with the third tap of the local accumulation. So let's see where we had this local range. Tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, break, tap 4, the favorite model, which came back for this tiny 10-minute demand mitigation and then pushed up. And then during the stream, I took most profits here and in a hurry moved my stop to break even for the remaining position. However, there was not really a reason to move the rest of the position to break even because we were in a confirmed model 1 into model 2. And that's basically the favorite model because that shows clearly accumulative behavior. So then this was technically a protected low. So could just leave my stop there. And then you can see that it would have turned into a crazy runner because the target of the bullish PO3, which is range, then manipulation, where this is your manipulation phase, which should stay within your deviation threshold. Got it, the range. And then the moment you reclaim your range low, your PO3 is basically confirmed. And then the target of that is the opposite side of the range high. So that long from here technically was a super valid bullish PO3 play. So the model we played yesterday was around mitigation, entry was around there. Stop loss is your fourth tap of the Wyckoff low after the break of structure. And then first target should have been here, and I should not even have taken out 80%, but maybe like 30, 40%, and leave the rest run as long as price moved back in the range. Because the moment we moved into the range here, confirmed the deviation below. Target, range high. So then technically, this was the valid setup, which is above a 10R. So a bit unfortunate, I was not looking too good at the bigger picture. I was focused on the local model. But yeah, here you see local accumulation creating a deviation of your bullish PO3. And that's super clean. This is crazy. So I should have let it run for a good 10R, but not always we are perfect. So we just learn from it and improve. But again, hype, crazy clean price action. And yeah, it might be a matter of time before we take out the range high and then see what happens from there. But high time frame is and remains super bullish. So this can just be high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and can just continue with this price discovery. So super clean, and this is one for in the books. This is bullish PO3. More perfect than this, you're not gonna find it. Where in your manipulation you get the model 1 into model 2. Crazy clean. Next time we hit it. BTC in the meantime selling off. And then gold made some wild price action I want to discuss. Let's get rid of this. Yesterday, during that news event, strong push, and there I said the close at this 4-hour market structure will be key. So 4-hour was basically low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So then the reaction here you want to see is the 4-hour. Does it closes around here? That's not really convincing. If it closes as a wick above, then you have a swing failure. Then technically your low is next. But in this case, the 4-hour closed anywhere here, I believe. So then you have a super convincing break. And then you technically want to look for the higher low, for the higher high, to expect higher. However, price did not give the retrace and just grind it up higher, continuing the local bullish structure, which is basically higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and is now really close to that supply, which was created early in the week with that Model 1 distribution. So super, super clean price action. And even locally, now we have to go to the 1 minute. Price gave models after model after model. So here you can see price is just in a clean uptrend. This is market structure, high, higher low, higher high. And then here price is more kind of ranging, where it takes the high, comes back, takes the high again. 1, 2, 3. Break of structure in this leg. So you have high, higher low, higher high, break. Technically that break, you can short it. So let's say there. And then your target is the range low. Right there. 2R. I believe it happened very early, so I was not aware for it. But clean price action. And from there, you have to keep in mind, price is in an uptrend locally. So a distribution is counter context. So you should always be more careful with shorting an uptrend, and you want to focus on accumulations because they are with the trend and therefore easier to play, because then your trend is your friend. That's what you want. And here you can also see that this was the range low. Price deviated the range low and then broke internal structure back to bullish. The moment you break this back to bullish, means that this is your basically your 2-tap model. So we often like to trade the 3-tap, where you then get tap 3. But technically, the moment you clearly break your internal back to bullish, means that this is a valid liquidity sweep / deviation, and it's likely that you get the rotation back to your high. However, entering here, stop loss there, it's not RR. It's not the best. And from there, price pushed above. And then we have to zoom out a bit, where price swept the low, then made a new push higher. Price left super clean demand behind during London with this move. And the VWAP has been supported the whole day. So this eventually turned into a higher low, mitigating demand, and then pushing up. So just trend continuation, but there was not really an entry confirmation right here. We did tap into demand, but there was no clear structure to work with. So didn't catch any of the longs or any of the shorts, but super clean price action. And right now price is close to that key supply. So let's just clear the chart up and just see what is the view right now. Like, I'm not gonna play it right now anymore. I wanted to get in anywhere here, but right now like this liquidity trail that was left behind is now taken, like perfectly. So that liquidity is taken, and then right now we below also have quite some liquidity build up, and we are super close to the supply and this anchored VWAP. So to me, longing up here is way too high, so I'm not gonna do that anymore. instead, because we are at such a key supply level, if there's clear weakness right here with the breaker structure, then I would not be surprised to see a pretty deep retrace to then eventually from here watch for that higher low, potentially if we get it. Because 4 hour is low, lower high, lower low, break. So this can just be a 4 hour higher low for an high high. Right here, like that. But in order to form this higher low, price can form a downtrend locally. So potential shorts can be taken here for that higher low and then continue the trend. However, it's Friday, so yeah, traditional markets are closed, gold is closed. So at this point, I don't like to get into new trades. But yeah, still clean to see such clean price action with 2 taps, 3 taps, distributions flowing over into accumulations, just super, super clean. So a lot of to learn from. Unfortunately, no trade for me. Okay, BTC is selling off again. I saw some rumors that Sailor was gonna sell, that he just deposited a lot of money. So maybe there's a little bit of front running for that. Because we have a new weekly low right now. Welcome Sudo and Wes de Vries. Kijos, I really don't enjoy London price. No, I hate London price action. I think, yeah, I should just not trade it. Most of the times it doesn't, it ends up differently than I want. 9 of 10 times you're just better off waiting for New York and then only execute them. We should not even look at ETH. It looks set on this beautiful. Yeah, I haven't looked at it today. Third tap is model 2. Not sure about what that was. BTC took the low. Yeah, so from a trading perspective right now, gold is not my interest again. Mainly interested to see yeah, what BTC does after taking the lows and what USDT does after taking the high. Can look for distributions right here, but should not forget the uptrend is always stronger. So this can just continue as an uptrend. So in order to see it as a distribution, it has to be really clean. I meant hype trade. Third tap is model 2. Not sure. I'm not watching this as the third tap. I think context-wise, high time frame trend is up. So I expect this bullish trend to continue, especially after this. So at least new highs. Question, how do you find high probability POIs? Yeah, it's a combination of just Wyckoff models. So if you have tab 1, tab 2, for example, this is a deviation setup. It's not the cleanest Wyckoff, but this is basically, you can see like tab 1, deviation, then tab 2 can come here for a 3 tap setup. Then this is a super clean invalidation. If you then have a POI for your model 2 to be formed, which is for example right here, and then have confluences right here with demand, then that is a high probability POI. If price comes back into it, if structure allows it, then you can enter right there. It's hard to explain right now what is a high probability POI. It's a combination of just supply, clean supply and demand levels, and if there is a model within. Let's see if gold breaks this low, then you technically have a market structure break. Will be the first sign of weakness. Then it can change structure, but for now we still have supply above, so I think can also hit that. Let's look at Tao because it finally hit the target. This is that die net unfinished candle on the daily, weekly, 6-hour, monthly, I don't know, everything. And that has now finally been taken. Kijos has been waiting for it and me for ages. So finally it has been taken right now. And clean to see that price, it was like a magnet, as we said all the time, just a matter of time before it gets taken. And just before taking it, price even formed a distribution. So mark this trending down, pull your range from low to high. Tab 1, basically it's like this, tab 1 at the low, tab 1 at the high, tab 2, then price took the high, came back, took the high once more, probably broke structure on the low time frame. Yeah, so you have tab 1, tab 2, pullback, high, higher low, higher high, break. So that technically validates this as your third tab of your Wyckoff model 1, which is your protected high. And then you see that price comes back in range, retests range high, and then sells off again. Technically a model 1 into a model 2, which eventually hit the target right here. I had supply, extreme supply here, in which I was interested if price tapped into it to then continue the bearish model, because the range low was not hit yet. So if price took the high here into that supply and then broke structure right here, then technically you could still look for a short right here, stop loss above that high, and then target the low. And a bit beyond, because we targeted at lower level. However, price did not give this sweep. Instead, it was a lower high / equal highs. So in that way, there's no structure to work with. But yeah, clean distributive behavior for price to finally hit that target. Now that the target has been hit, there's still, like, we are in this mega range. Let's make it a classic range. Basically range high, range low. And the range low is open. So for accumulations, we always want to take out the lows and then see if buyers step in right there. And then this can potentially be the high time frame range to work with. But then we have to wait for the range low to be hit. And that can happen pretty quickly, because this is just a bunch of sell side liquidity. So price just stepped into the last demand, protecting it, but it seems to fail. So then this can just easily cascade lower, taking out all these stop losses. So main interest is at the sweep of those lows and then see what happens from there. And then on for the high time frame / swing, this is an interesting zone to watch what happens at the range lows. Yeah, what Kijos is saying. If we take it, then time to focus on longs again. Yeah, beside that, not too much. There was quite a lot of promising setups yesterday, but market turned a bit into shit again. Can watch Zach. Yeah, said yesterday internal range or internal downtrend is like this: low, lower high, lower low. This was supply. We could look for a trade. I personally missed it. I'm not sure if there was an entry. But I think this is lower high, and that is on its way to sweeping this liquidity. And then POI is the range low. Just pretty similar to what I just shared on Tao, where the range low here will be key. ETH, yeah, not even worth looking at. Looks weak as fuck. And beside that, also Ripple, not really, no, nothing. Or maybe you guys have something to look at. Mm, 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 mm. I do have. Oh, I don't have it anymore. I shared that journal. Let's see, where did I share it? Because some people ask me if I have a good journal, and it's really bad, but I just write it all down or put it in a Discord channel. But right now, because people ask for it, I've been working with my assistant on a journal where you can just log your trades. So you can say date, session. Look, if I fill this in, London will give me the worst results. The pair, so fill in the pairs, long, short. Type of setup is the model 1, model 2 is the model 1 into model 2. Continuation trade, deviation setup, market structure, outcome, the results. You can grade it yourself. Are you on plan, off plan? Is there a clear boss confirmation? All these things. Is price in discount, or are you longing premium? Are you within your value area? A lot of stuff related to our system. Psychology. And then here you can, before the trade, fill in your emotions. After the trade, your emotions. And then just fill that all in. And then eventually that will look like something like this, where you can see what was the trade, what's their structure, your notes and stuff, everything in it. And then the analytic is the most interesting one, where it will track all your data and come up with coaching advice and stuff. Like BTC is hurting your overall P&L, so don't trade BTC, or don't trade London because London is your worst performing session. And then here you will see those tips, all kind of insights into the triggers you used or you did not use. Tips, average RR by pair, your win rate per pair, full performance, like a lot of stuff, stuff. And then once a week or once a month, you can just go over it and then see like, it's really important that there's a clear boss confirmation or that you are within your value area. If you don't do that, then you see that your trades have a worse win rate, for example. Like here, with the daily bias, win rate 89%. If you have it, if you don't have it, then 8%. So can still be adjusted, can still be added some other things, like maybe some different model. These are most of the models I came up with, or process checklist. We can also add some things there, or anything you guys can come up with, and then we can improve it. And then I think it's super valuable to have something like this. Normally it costs a lot to let it all track it, but now I just build it with AI, and yeah, crazy what it can do. So let me know if you guys have feedback on it or any adjustments, or if it works, doesn't work. I think it looks pretty cool. Oh no, it's great. I have to manage to open it on my iPad. You can download it on your browser and then open it from there. If it doesn't work, let me know, then I'll have to figure that out. Soon after the stream, so exciting. Looks amazing. Yeah, it's AI for analytics. So I'm very curious, and this is all just made up, but I think for our system and just tracking it, that it can work amazing. Let's see what's oil doing. Oh, yeah, that looks a bit scary. look, this looks pretty accumulative. Low, sweep, kind of a accumulation with internal structure, low, lower high, lower low. So if this breaks back to bullish internally, then this can be potentially the range low deviation. And then there's a lot of liquidity to be taken to the upside. So we have seen those examples with hype, for example, that once price starts breaking structure back to bullish, first internally, and then the more important one, which is this one, that it then can squeeze up quite aggressively. And weekend is approaching, so we all know that Trump might be onto something. And just purely watching this chart, could turn ugly. But beside that, there's also like internal structure is still bearish until proven otherwise. So this can also be lower high, and then this demand, this is also super clean demand to watch. So let's see what it will do. Let's see. There's one chart that has my eyes maybe. SPCX coming into the lows, not a lot of price action yet, but volatile for anyone. Is it crypto pair? SPCX, or is it a stock or anything? SPCX USDT. Oh, the SpaceX or not? Yeah, it's always a bit hard when you have this little price action to say anything meaningful about it. Technically, this is the low, close to sweeping that, and you have pretty clean downtrend into it. So then you can watch how does price react. We take the low, and then this simplest thing you can do with this little price action is pure market structure. Because you can draw like Wyckoff models, but that does not make too much sense. Market structure is then leading. So right now, this is your main bearish structure. And this one, your more internal one, where you also have some supply above it. This is mostly liquidity, all the way up to, let's say, these highs. So it can be an interesting one to watch. I'm not sure what the volume is, but if we take the lows, and then most important, just break the downtrend, that could be pretty interesting. Until then, most likely to just continue the bearish trend, as long as you don't get a clean break. And beside that, market, yeah, it looks like this. The only super bullish chart in crypto is USDT, and that's not not a good sign. Yeah, so from this little downwards move, this range, this little price action before you aggressively broke down, and at those levels you can also draw like a volume profile to see what your point of control was. So that's where most volume was traded before the big drop, and that's usually a pretty big level to watch. The price actually already tapped it more or less, but the 12-hour is not tapped yet, as you can see. So interesting zone here, but until proven otherwise, this is just a super bullish chart. where each range breaks to the upside. Because this was our former range, and that one also broke to the upside with a local accumulation, model 1. So interproven otherwise, it's also most likely that this does the same. Simply because you are in an uptrend. Beside that, yeah, maybe, I don't know if you guys have something to look at or to talk about. I don't know. What I want to see is either here and then push back, and then we can just watch this range, which can flow over into an accumulation, same as always. But that needs some time. Probably if we look at the timing, then that is Saturday or Sunday, that it will give me a setup. Right here, it won't give me a setup. Basically, too immature range for now. Do I have more? No, sometimes there's a lot to trade, sometimes not. And for now, it's the last one. So some potential clean ranges in the making. We just need to create second tabs. Also for Sol, we have tab 1, tab 1. So at least form tab 2, and then we have something to work with and look for tab 3. And yeah, it's the same for hype. Take range high. If you do not take the range high and go down beforehand, then range low here becomes interesting again for simple 3-tap setup, power of 3. And Tao already explained. Sec, expecting range lows next. ETH, we're not going to talk about. So yeah, that's it. Not much more to tell. So yeah, hopefully you guys like the journal. Let me know if there are improvements. And we can use that. Yeah, same Gichels. Tomorrow weekend, so time to enjoy. Not price action this week has been super choppy, so could also just continue into the weekend. So I'm not gonna waste my time. I also have a football trip tomorrow for the end of the season, so I have to show my bowling skills, which is not really my skill. Do you trade NQ? I did trade NQ, but not anymore. I have traded it, but since the chart is like this, for this is at ES, no, but to me it's not really a regional chart anymore. It's super aggressive. So sometimes it still gives a model. I see something here maybe. Yeah, this was pretty clean. Basically our favorite model. Let's see if it was clean. Model 1 into model 2. Yeah, so on this chart it just front ran this demand, but might be hit on a different pick. Then this is your tab 4. Let's see if this was tradable. Tab 1, tab 2, aggressive move in tab 3. So there's no structure, it seems. No structure. No structure on the 10. On the 5 also no structure. So then you cannot confirm your third tab, which is unlikely. You want this, then break, then validate your third tab, and then can look for that higher low for higher high. Right now you don't have that, so then it's a bit more tricky to play this one. But the moment you break this back to bullish, so this, I value this as a mitigation. If we then break this to bullish, which you did there, then you can try to get in. but it's not really super clean. But the models are they're everywhere on every asset, every market. But to answer your question, no, I'm not trading it anymore. Good luck with bowling. I always get the ball in the gut. Yeah, I also don't really enjoy it. I found it funny to throw a few balls, but after that, I'm pretty quickly done with it. But I believe we also have limited beers with it, so I will enjoy myself. Okay, beside this, I don't have much to tell, so I'm also not gonna take or spend your time longer with me while it's time to enjoy the weekend. Gold is pushing into the refined supply. So market structure now also changes to this level. So this is structure until that breaks. This is just super strong locally. So thank you everyone for tuning in again. This week's price action was a bit hard. A lot of chop, a lot of downtrends, but not really any clean entry confirmations to get into shorts. We failed to sweep the highs, so then it's a bit harder. Also, like today, like here, sweep it, then you have a clean potential trade on your hand. Right now you don't sweep it, so then you don't have structure to work with, and then it goes down. But maybe if this develops a bit further, we can trade it. So let's see how it develops. For now, thanks everyone, and I'll keep in touch with you in the Discord. And then I wish you all a happy weekend. And next week we are back at it. So make sure to enjoy the weekend. We stay in touch. Cheers.